Alright, so here's our setup for the Pentax lens test. Got my aftermarkets. This is my zoom lens, actually the one I use the most. I have a Super-Takumar 35. These are all the 50 millimeters we'll be trying. And then here are some longer lenses. I've got a 135 and then two different 200s. Got a Super-Takumar 200 and then a Pentax-M. So this should be a lot of fun. So what I'll be doing in the images is I'll be actually taking this marker and on here just writing essentially what lens I'll be using and at what settings. So with our current setup using the Sony camera here, I actually have an ability to zoom in and focus from there. So what I'm doing for each one of these shots is I'm actually focusing on the Super Mario Bros. 3. From there I've got a 2-second timer. Alright, so first let's take a look at the 50mm Super-Takumar 1.4. These are traditionally found on Pentax Spotmatic cameras. They're highly sought after. Starting off with a wide open shot. I will say there's a little bit of a lack of sharpness. And you're seeing a lot of bloom and a lot of glare there with the high contrast areas. Looking at the Pentax-A 1.4, there still is glare wide open, but it's definitely a lot less. I'm guessing a lot of those improvements over the years on the coatings of the lens made a big difference. Once you stop the Takumar down to 2.0, you'll get rid of almost all of that glare. The rest that you're seeing in this image is just simply that it's out of focus. And looking at the Pentax-A 50mm 1.4, you can see that it has the slight advantage. It cuts it out completely, and there's actually a little bit more sharpness if you were to look a little bit closer. Taking a look at the Pentax 1.7 50mm, I would say it's about on par with the 1.4, which is surprising. I would say anything below probably 2.8 or smaller, you'd be looking at a similar performance between the 1.4 and the 1.7. Taking a look at the Pentax 50mm f2, I would say you might want to avoid this lens. The example shown here is just obviously wide open at an f-stop of 2, but even stop down at 2.8 and 4, while it does get sharper, its performance is pretty lackluster. If you're going to shoot a 50mm, honestly, you're pretty good with either a 1.4 or 1.7. So I actually did test all of these Pentax lenses, so I'll be sure to include a link for you guys to check out. And if you have any questions, feel free to message me, and hopefully I'll have an answer. Thanks, guys.